On this planet, there exist rivers whose stories are not about crystal clear waters or leisurely fishing moments, but about how human activities have turned them into scenes of ecological tragedy. Rivers, the veins of nature intended to nourish life, have in some places become receptacles of pollution overlooked by humanity. Today, I will take you through some of the most polluted rivers on Earth, unveiling the heart-wrenching stories behind them. The Pasig River in Manila, Philippines, has become highly polluted as the city's population exploded, leading to overcrowded conditions and the formation of numerous slums. The river is covered with floating garbage to the extent that it's hard to recognize it as a river unless you see people carefully walking over it. Local residents have become accustomed to these conditions, which is astonishing. The living conditions along the riverbanks are also poor. In such circumstances, residents are primarily focused on survival, with little regard for the environment. The overburdened population exacerbates the pollution issue. While the government regularly collects a large portion of Manila's household waste, the remainder ends up in the river, public toilets, and other areas. According to statistics, there are now over 2,000 pollutants in the Pasig River, including organic chemicals, hydrocarbons, and metals, with 765 types found in the tap water alone. Falling into the river could lead to unimaginable consequences. The Baganga River, in the capital city of Dhaka, Bangladesh, also known as the City of Garbage, is the economic, political, and cultural hub of the country. Home to over 15 million people. The river, once the lifeline of the city, is now considered the dirtiest part of Dhaka. According to research on urban river pollution over the past 40 years, waste from approximately 7,000 large and small factories in Hazaribagh, Tajgaon, and Dhaka has been dumped into the Baganga River. Garbage floats on the river's surface, and sewage from drains is directly discharged into it. The river water is not only foul-smelling but also toxic. The disposal of sanitary pads and plastic bags, which are pollutants, into the river results in water that is highly contaminated with bacteria. Despite this, people still use the river water for bathing, a practice that is both unsanitary and difficult to comprehend. It is said that no life exists in the river anymore. It can accommodate garbage and sewage, but not living organisms. The Yamuna River, the longest tributary of the Ganges, originates from the Yamuna Glacier on the southwestern slopes of the Bandarpunch Peak in northwestern India. Below Garsane, it meets the Tons River, significantly increasing its volume. Pollution in India's rivers, including the Yamuna, is worsening. 57% of New Delhi's urban waste eventually ends up in the Yamuna. From 1993 to 2005, the level of pollution in the river more than doubled. Furthermore, due to severe pollution, the river's dolphin population is on the brink of extinction. According to the Center for Science and Environment in India, 75% to 80% of the Yamuna's pollution is caused by domestic wastewater, compounded by industrial waste and household trash dumped into the river. Daily, residents of New Delhi produce up to 3 billion liters of sewage. The center identifies the crux of India's river pollution problem as the discharge of untreated sewage into rivers. Recent sampling and testing of the river's water revealed that the level of fecal coliform bacteria is 3,000 times higher than the standards considered safe for bathing. The Ganges River, flanked by at least 500 leather factories along its banks, is subjected to daily discharges of wastewater containing chemical and carcinogenic substances without any treatment. This waste flows directly into the nearby Ganges. Moreover, a significant portion of the population living along the riverbanks are rural dwellers. In rural India, the lack of toilets means that people often resort to defecating and urinating by the river or even directly into it. The sight of animal feces, ashes, and even the corpses of various creatures floating on the water can be profoundly shocking. Additionally, the thriving open-air cremation practices along the Ganges indirectly contribute to the river's pollution. However, in India, the Ganges is considered a sacred river. The locals believe that its waters can purify their souls, and those who have committed sins often bathe in the river, hoping that the sacred water will wash away their misdeeds. Interestingly, despite the pollution, locals who regularly use the Ganges water rarely get sick from it. In contrast, visitors not accustomed to the water can suffer from severe illnesses, including vomiting, diarrhea, and high fevers, after consuming just a small amount. The Citarum River, flowing gently near the capital city of Jakarta, is the largest river in West Java Province, Indonesia. It was once a clear and enchanting river, with picturesque bridges and houses along its banks. However, reports over the last 20 years indicate that due to the massive disposal of industrial and domestic waste into the river, the Citarum's beauty has vanished. The water has become polluted, and the river is littered with garbage, to the extent that the media has deemed it one of the dirtiest rivers in the world. Since the 1980s, the industrial development along the Citarum River has been rapid, with over 500 factories along its 200-plus kilometers, most of which are textile mills producing vast amounts of chemical waste. With the establishment of these factories, the local population has also grown, now exceeding 9 million. The environmental protection facilities intended to preserve the Citarum River's ecosystem are severely inadequate. There are no waste recycling stations around the Citarum, nor are there modern toilets, resulting in both chemical waste from factories and domestic garbage being dumped directly into the river. Do you think this water is dirty? Would you dare to taste a sip of the supposedly sweet waters of the Ganges? That's the video for today. If you're a fan of mysterious and magical themes, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button. Your support is the motivation for my continuous creation. Thank you, everyone.